Morning or good afternoon. It's 12 noon. My name is Jeannie Sweeney. Good afternoon. My name is Jeannie Sweeney, and I am the founder of the Above Board Chamber. And we're excited that you are joining us today on our webinar. With the way that things are going on in our world right now, we can't even say our community, we have to find better ways to communicate with each other. So this webinar is going to talk about digital tools, which is what we're on right now. And we're finding that a lot of people, a lot of businesses do not understand these different tools and they're quitting. And as a society, we cannot have them quit. We have to find the tools that help them. Some are afraid of money, it's gonna cost too much money. Some are afraid of just the whole technology of it. And that's why we invited these panels in that will take a minute and explain to you exactly how they can keep your business out there so people know what's going on, and we can help you grow your business, because we don't want anybody to quit. We want everybody to get better. People are saying it's the new normal. I think it's the new beginning. And I think we're going to be better and stronger as we go forward. So first of all, I want to thank our sponsors. We have two sponsors for this meeting, and one is down there on the bottom. No, in the middle is Michael Longo, who has an amazing florist in Naples, Naples Floral Design. And I have to say, for personal reasons with Michael, I have been a person that has received his flowers quite often at different times. The last time when I was in the hospital, and I got lots of flowers. And it was amazing. I always tease Michael that I think he puts drugs in his flowers, because everybody's flowers die, and Michael's lasted 2 weeks longer than everybody else's. So I don't know what he's doing. But if you're looking to do something really special for somebody for Mother's Day, you might want to call Naples Floral Design. Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michael Longo, and I am the owner here at Naples Floral Design. We're operating a little bit differently, just like everybody else. We are still open for deliveries, so our phone lines are open. Our website is open for people to place orders at naplesfloral.com. We've been doing this for 40 years, so to have to shut my front door and not allow people to come in is very difficult, being a people person. But we're definitely here to help our community. We know so many families are separated where one person might be here and the other person might be up north, or the parents might be here and the children up north. And so we're definitely here to serve. And if we can help anybody out, my phone number here is 239-514-1414. And just for the record, we don't put any drugs in our flowers.
I don't know, Michael.
They last that long strictly by the way we purchase the flowers. And we buy everything direct from the farm. So that allows me to guarantee everything that leaves this store. So I guarantee all products, all services, 100%. So I'd like to wish you all a beautiful day. Stay healthy, stay safe. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you what you're doing. And remind everybody again, for Mother's Day, what is the phone number they can call to get flowers?
239-514-1414.
And if you can't remember that, you can find it at our website, aboveboardchamber.com. Thank you, Michael, for being a sponsor. Our other sponsor is Condition Air. I cannot say enough about Condition Air. You have Tim over there, you have Carrie, you have Theo Etzel. They are amazing. As a matter of fact, recently they put in a whole new system in my house, and it's flawless. It's like, it's unbelievable the care you get from Condition Air. As a matter of fact, people don't know it. Theo, who was one of the founders of it, actually won the Ethics Award. So it tells you a lot about Condition Air. Another thing about Condition Air that is really neat, it's one of the only air conditioning companies around that they don't get paid by commission. And what that means to you, if they come to your house to fix something or service something, and if they sell you something, that tech person does not make any money off of that. They get paid good salaries, and you don't have to worry about them selling something you don't need so they can make some money. So Condition Air is a great company, and we're honored once again to have them as members of the Above Board Chamber. And Michael and Condition Air are both annual sponsors of the Above Board Chamber. So thank you to both our sponsors for today's program. there's a lot of things that you can do if you're members of the Above Board Chamber that we want to remind people before we start the program. If you go to our website, you can put press releases up there absolutely free. As a matter of fact, Megan's company, Priority Marketing, does it all the time. So if they have a company that they're marketing and they have to put their stuff up, they send it over to the Above Board Chamber along with other avenues that they do, as well as Comric PR and marketing. I see you, Javier, down there. So you can do that for free. If you have an event, if you're putting on a webinar such as this, you can put that up absolutely free. Blogging, a lot of people are afraid of blogging. Do not be afraid of blogging. It's a conversation. Even if you put in a paragraph a month and start telling people about your passion for your company, they'll get to know you. What I try to teach our members is a lot of times when somebody joins the Above Board Chamber, I Google them. And if it's only about their company and what they're saying about their company, I always tease my members and say, it's like their mother wrote it. It's beautiful. But it's nice when you Google somebody and you see stuff that other companies or organizations are endorsing them. So remember that, members of the Above Board Chamber, make sure you use these tools and more, and let us help you, because we're just going to get better and stronger. So with that being said, I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves a little so we know a little bit more about them. Their bios have been all over social media, and so I think everybody knows them pretty much by heart. So I'm going to ask James. James, tell us a little bit about you and the company that you founded, Post Technology Solutions.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. So we are a local IT services provider focusing in on remote capabilities, cybersecurity, and other technology solutions that are being put more to use during this new way of working, if you will. Our primary offices service Southwest Florida, but we operate nationally as well as throughout the Caribbean with our offices out of St. Thomas.
No more? That's it?
That's it.
That's it. Well, that's good. So thank you, James, for joining us. Megan, tell us a little bit about what you do as account manager over Priority Marketing.
Well, thank you for having me. I work for Priority Marketing, which was established by Terry Hansen in 1992. My clients are diverse. As the account manager, I'm responsible for learning the client, understanding what their goals and objectives are, and coordinating all the activities so that we can put a strategy in place and accomplish their goals. So I've got small business clients, I've got large clients, I've got sports clients, restaurants. So it's really fun for me to experience all the different industries. I come from Chico's FAS, so I was there for many years in retail. So it's been really great to understand all the different industries and all the different needs and define solutions that fit our clients' needs.
Perfect. Thank you, Megan, for joining us. And Mark, you're an IT consultant at Florida Gulf Coast University Small Business Development, who are so busy right now trying to get loans and make people happy in the world, in the whole United States, basically. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, yes, it's a pleasure to be here, Jeannie. Thank you. So, I'm Mark Farron. I've been in IT just about my whole life. I've probably held just about every position one could hold in IT in my career. I'm currently and have a number of these, certifications and so on and so forth. Currently, I am the IT consultant at Small Business Development Center at FGCU. So I work with clients anywhere from startups and small offices and home offices up to companies that have 500 employees. And I assist them with their IT. And then I also am the managing consulting of a small boutique consulting firm, Kadima Consulting, which deals with larger companies, with enterprises, with Fortune 2000 companies.
Well,
we specialize in cybersecurity and application performance.
Great. Well, I want to thank all three of you to be part of our program today, and we are blessed and honored to have all three of you as members of the Above Board Chamber. So thank you for being part of that. So let's start with you, Mark. Your first question is going to be, and we asked our panelists to just feel comfortable and tell us what you know so we can all learn. What are some basic types of collaboration efforts we can do remotely and associated tools?
Sure. There are a number, basically you could do just about everything remotely in this digital transformation age. I'll mention a few. One is, for example, project management. People usually don't think about that as, you know, it's obviously a team approach. Um, there are tons of tools out there. I would mention Asana is a new one that has really caught fire and a lot of people use. Very easy to use, pretty intuitive. Another one is Trello, which I love. I've been a Trello user almost since it came out. And again, very easy to use, very multi-purpose. To-do lists, doesn't have to be project management. You know, and most of these things have what we call freemiums. In other words, free. Some of them are time limited. They, you know, you could get it free for a month. Most of them are not time limited, especially now, but they're functionally limited. So they want you to get on board, and then the premium versions, the paid versions, have a little more functionality. So the ones I'm mentioning all have freemium, free accounts. Of course, what we're using right now, video conferencing. And if people hadn't heard of Zoom before, they sure have heard of it now. It's really caught fire and made some people billionaires along the way. WebEx was actually the original one. They were the kind of first on the block, and they're trying to come back in. And of course, another original was GoToMeeting, which kind of has lost its steam. All of these basically do the same thing. And then Google has Hangout, and they also have something called Meet. So those are just basic, and there are tons of them. There are literally 30, 40, 50 of these video conferencing tools. Of course, there's just chat. Again, you think of Team, you think of Slack, and you think of just, and again, tons of texting, both use professional. Microsoft has a texting app. They vary basically in terms of security. Your normal texting on your iPhone and Android are very often not encrypted. So they might not be the greatest, they might not be compliant if you're in the financial or healthcare trade. For example, real-time document revision, OneDrive, Google Drive, Box, so that you could share and collaborate on files. And of course, there's cloud storage and version control. The same things, the OneDrive, the Google Drive, the Box, the OneBox. And then lastly, there are tools that combine these. So you think of Teams, Slacks, which try to combine video conferencing, chatting, document management, all these, and try to do it in one place. Google is trying to reinvent Google Chat to kind of compete with Teams and Slack. So those are the basic types of tools that you have out there.
Thank you, Mark. I just want to remind the people that are attending this, if they go down the bottom of their screen, it says Q&A. If you press that, you can submit questions as the webinar goes on. So we want to know if you have any additional questions. And as always, the panelists will be giving you their information, or we will at the end, if you have more information, or if you want their phone number, if you want any more questions, just let us know. Okay, we're going to bring Miss Megan now. Let me pull up one of Megan's questions. Here you have. If you have limited time, resources, and budgeting and marketing budget, what digital marketing strategies deliver the best ROI, return of management?
So, you know, we probably have many different industries in the audience, or people that are watching this on replay. So, you know, I would really customize my recommendation based on the particular organization's needs and on a case-by-case basis. So you'd want to consider several factors. You know, what type of organization are you running? You know, what are your goals, and what existing resources do you have? If, you know, considering the first question, what kind of business are you running, and how are you finding your customers right now, and how are customers finding you right now? Are you operating online, or do you have a brick and mortar? You know, you're going to want to have a blend of few outlets where your audience has been proven to, you know, engage with you in the past. You want to have a variety ways to reach your potential customers. And then you've got to determine, you know, what your goals are for advertising. So, you know, you can add digital to your strategy, and share all of your rapidly changing information. You've got updated hours, different products and services, or, you can just redirect your audience to your website. So if you're closely watching the investment and your return on ad spend, lead generation and traffic driving strategies are going to be the best, like straightforward way to measure that. But you're going to need to consider the current customer landscape. So, maybe that's not the best avenue to go if you have a limited budget, and maybe you should be considering brand awareness. If your goal is to grow your customers and reach new customers, then you probably need to go for lead generation. But don't just start grabbing customers. You have to lead them down the path. And ideally, if you're reaching them online, you have to have a conversion friendly landing page. It's not always the best practice to land them on your homepage of your website. And when I'm talking about conversion friendly landing page, you've just got to have enough information on that page so that they're going to fill out the information to learn more and submit their information. So you've got that conversion in place. And you don't have to, go to a web designer to do that. You can create a quick landing page through Constant Contact and MailChimp. So there's not like a real investment there for you to do that. The other question, you have to consider what resources you have. So, if you wouldn't want to invest in just one method of advertising, if you have no budget, you can advertise through organic social media. It's free, but it's only really effective if you have an audience that's interacting with you and engaging with you already. The time is really the investment there. So you got to think about your content mix. It doesn't have to be highly produced. It just needs to be well thought out. So, if you're closed, think about content that's more along the lines of like a PSA or kind of your own business's version of press briefings to keep your customers informed and engaged so they still feel, connected to what's going on. Live videos, it's really great because the people that are following you on Facebook, they're going to get prompted that you're going live. And, you don't have to have budget to do that. You're getting in their news feed and you're letting them know whatever updates you have. If you've got a small budget, so those are kind of like tactics if you don't have budget at all. But if you have a small budget and you have an existing email database, you can reach your customers through eBlast. So I have a few restaurant clients that, during this time they had to kind of cut down to slim staff and cut their advertising budget. So they were advertising on Google and Facebook. So we successfully shifted their strategy from driving traffic and sales to their to-go orders. And we utilized email marketing and organic social media. So previously, we had one e-blast going out a month, and they had pretty engaged audience on Facebook as well as good open rates on their e-newsletters. But we changed the strategy and we started e-blasting once per week. And of course, I was monitoring that because you can get overload on email, but it was really successful. They maintained high open rates, high engagement rates. We were really strategic about the emails. They had a compelling offer, so that was really important to put in the subject line. We put little emojis in there to get people to open. But aside from those organic means, you can tap into other outlets such as like directory listings. I know a lot of our PR team was focusing on reaching out to the publications such as like Fox News and Florida Weekly and News Press. They had those online directories. Those were free, just to let them know, hey, we're open, come see us, and here's the services we're offering. And by the way, we're running this promotion. Of course, as you mentioned, Jeannie, your website. So just to get the information out there, there's plenty of free resources. So don't retreat, just find and tap into those resources. For looking at all the different email service providers, kind of going back to that, you don't have to pay a lot. So that's like $70 for a send size of like 5,000. It's not a lot. And so there's just a lot that you can do that you don't have to pay. So even like if you're looking at a smaller budget, You can reach audiences through Facebook and Google. You don't have to spend a lot. You can do a combination of both of these and then just kind of peel back your budget as well. With Google, you're only going to pay, when an interested customer is clicking on your ad. So it's pay per click. But you're going to want to stay competitive within the industry and not go dark. There's ads that you can send in Gmail, you can do YouTube, and really, Facebook, 70% of the population's on Facebook. So you can't ignore that. You're going to want to make sure that you've got all the pixels installed properly so that they're firing. You can track it all because it's all about what return on ad spend is working best. But at the end, there's only so much that you can do within the time and budget. And, sometimes less is more. Don't get overwhelmed. Just be consistent with your efforts.
Absolutely. It's making the invisible visible.
Yes.
What I've noticed, and I've talked to quite a few marketing companies, a lot of companies were saying they were closed down in the last month, and they weren't actually closed down. Somebody called me and said, such and such, my dentist office is closed down. I said, what does that mean? And she said, they're not going to be there anymore. I said, are they closed down for a month? Are they closed down for 3 weeks? Or are they closed down permanently? And she said, I don't know. So I said, I'm sure it's just temporary and they're just taking emergency patients right now. And then she called me back a little while later and she said, you're correct. So I think our words that we're saying about our businesses right now, we have to be very, very careful, because somebody could hear that you said you closed down and they're not even going to try you. They're going to go to the next company that does a similar thing. So don't lose your customers or your clients because your verbiage. And that's why marketing companies are really important, to give them the precise words that they need to use. Mm-hmm. There's James. Welcome back, James. Megan, there is a question that somebody wants. She's a motivational speaker and wonders if you'll ever worked with this type of business. So you're welcome to go type in and answer her question. Can you see it?
Okay, great.
In the Q&A, there's a question for you right there.
Awesome.
She wants some information on you. So let's get James back here. James, with all this stuff going on with getting online and cyber stuff and digital tools, and it could get pretty darn scary. So basically we can jump in anything we want and everybody's talking about today, but if we're not protected, we could actually do more harm to our business if we don't have the right things in check that will protect us at this time with cyber security and digital security. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. So like Mark mentioned, there's great tools out there that can, as we look at the digital transition implementation now with this pandemic, more and more people are working from home for the company, but yet they're using personal computers, personal Wi-Fi, which could cause potential issues or incidents for employers. And really right now, some of the biggest ways a lot of this stuff is happening is, since this pandemic hit, the vast amount of phishing scams. It's about 71% increase since this has begun in various emails that people are receiving, trying to gather information or intrude onto an email system or try to get to corporate settings. But also, as we are using, like Mark mentioned, texting, we have to be careful with that, because if you're working around sensitive data, the companies need to make sure that they have proper policies and procedures in place. And that can go across not just from a technology company or financial, healthcare. It can even carry over into a marketing firm like Priority, where they could be working with some high-profile clients. And obviously you don't want some, confidential branded information getting out there. But what's really interesting, what's happening a little bit more now, going back to the texting, is, you'll get this link to verify your bank or something. And unfortunately, a lot of companies are applying for disaster loans or the payroll protection loans / grants, and inadvertently they're clicking, you clickety click, happy, tap, on various things in emails, without really looking at who's sending it and what it's all about. Same is true with the texting. And there's been a huge increase with various apps such as Telegram and WhatsApp, where the bad folks, if you will, are pushing out, you know, hey, this is your bank, here's an attachment or a form you need to fill out for your application. Please get it back to me right away, otherwise your disaster loan is going to be denied. So, you know, it's just, I always tell people when it comes to cybersecurity, common sense. If it smells fishy, looks fishy, don't do it. Call, you know, if you have your own in-house IT or IT provider, or if you're working with Mark, or even if you want to work with us or any IT consultant, whether here or abroad or throughout the US, you know, err on the side of caution, if needed, make a phone call to say, hey, is this a legit email, or is this legit coming from the company through social? Because it's even happening on Facebook and LinkedIn where people are sending suspicious items as well.
Very interesting. But like I said, I think it's really important that people know what they're doing before they dive into a lot of these things. And that's why it's good to work with professionals, and they're professionals for a reason. So we need to be careful what we're doing with our business during this time and all the time. Mark, we have a question for you. Is it best to stay with one vendor like Microsoft or Google for these tools, or try for the best of the breed?
Yeah, I would recommend, and there's no hard and fast answer to this, but I would recommend trying to stay with one vendor. In other words, if you're on Teams, don't go to Google Suite. You know, on the other hand, if you're on Google Chat, maybe try Google Suite. There's an integration issue. Again, you can go with kind of a best in breed, but they don't all work together as nicely. There are great programs like Zapier, which is a way of connecting various tools. So if you write something in Gmail, you don't have to record, or in Contacts, you don't have to record it again in QuickBooks. But basically, it is so much, and I recommend this not only to my clients, my small and medium-sized businesses with the SBDC, but also with my larger clients, with enterprises. It's much easier to go with, you know, again, if you're on Teams, go with Office 365. It all works together, especially Teams. Teams was made to go with the whole Office 365 suite. I'm not just talking about the traditional 4 or 5 programs, but Office 365, or now called Microsoft 365, actually has about 30 different programs. A lot of people don't know the other ones, but if you go to products.office.microsoft.com, you'll see you're probably entitled to a whole bunch of programs you didn't know about that connect and integrate with Teams. So I would highly recommend, if you can, to stay with one vendor. I just want to mention what James said. I in no way replace James. I am not an IT firm. I'm a consultant. I go in, I help you, and very often I refer you to people like James, or make sure you have people like James.
Well said. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Megan, you have questions all over here, so I'm trying to decide whether to get one of our people that are asking questions or one of the ones that were submitted. So we'll go with somebody that's asking. How about that? Hello, Megan. For a print magazine going digital for now, what is the difference between sending issues out using email instead of doing a campaign with partners?
So I typed in an answer, and hopefully that answer got translated there properly, because I'm still learning the chat feature here. We use, to go back to Mark, we use Teams at Priority Marketing, and I love it. It goes seamlessly into Outlook. You pop it up, and you can be within your meeting right away, just like Zoom. But, you know, hey, we've got this customized Priority Marketing background for Zoom. So I'm really happy to be in Zoom today to have the virtual background. So to answer the question, really consumers are, or your audience is consuming media completely different. So it's in your best interest right now to not only be in a print publication, you're going to want to be in the publications that are distributed through email and online. That's where people are at right now. So, you know, you also have to look at back on historical open rates, because you're talking about, the question was referencing what's a good open or a good forward rate. Really, that's going to be based on historical as well as the current environment. So in the past, if you had a certain level of open rates, and your open rates haven't increased, but we know that consumers are much more likely to read what's going on online. I would say that you probably need to look at your subject line and what, you know, what the content is. And I suggested personalization. That's really big. If I see an email come up in my feed that says, Megan, check out what restaurants are open today, or check out the latest issue on, you know, interior furnishings, that's going to catch my eye much better, you know, than, you know, something that doesn't have my name. So I think there's a lot of factors, and it also is industry specific. So just some factors to consider. I don't have like a hard answer on what a good open rate would be. You just have to consider all those different factors.
Thank you, Megan. James, come on back. James, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, I don't see you. That's why I'm asking. One of the things that's going out around in our community, and I guess everybody would agree on this, is our nonprofits and events. And a lot of them are being canceled, or they don't know what to do. We have great members like Rick Gallo, that is a great auctioneer that's out there, and they want to know exactly how to do it. So how do we shift from physical to virtual events and maximize the event's outcome? How do they do that?
Sure. So if it's just for a social gathering or an event that you would go to, I would highly recommend Zoom. But as if you are trying to have more of an auction style or sensitive data or information or spoken, you know, being discussed, I would agree with Mark going with Microsoft Teams. Zoom is trying to fix some of their security issues or Zoom bombing that has been occurring. But I agree with Mark and think it's good that Priority Marketing is utilizing Teams and the integration with Office 365. And in many cases, like Mark said, you can get Teams for free. There are paid versions, but it's not, that Microsoft is now giving it free. But when it comes to, you know, social events and things of that nature, you know, obviously if you're going to connect through whatever medium, Zoom, GoToMeeting, etc., you know, people are kind of brain dead at this point. You know, they're working from home, a lot of worry, a lot of scariness going on in these days. So it's more to make everything relevant. So if you're going to host a nonprofit function or even any type of event online, you know, it's good to deliver an amazing experience to those attending, but you've got to make everything timely, relevant, and respect times and schedules, because right now our attention deficit disorders are really popping into overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those are probably the key takeaways, you know, but you can create an awesome digital event through Zoom and such, but if it's for a nonprofit and it's for a special event, obviously it needs to be well thought out or prepared with assistance from a marketing firm like Priority or others that are out there. But you know, you just got to keep it relevant, short, brief, things of that effect.
Well, with that being said, since so many people, raise your hand if you're home working. Okay, our question here is Marcus, and this is a tough one for him, I'm sure, and a lot of other people. How do you get your employees to use the tools? Like, how do you change them when they sat at a desk in an office and they did things their way for so many years, and now we have to introduce them to new things and new ways of doing them? How do you do that?
Yeah, I guess I would mention three things. I mean, obviously the first thing is by example. You have to use it. You have to have those team meetings and Zoom meetings. And for those companies that have employees, it's more important now more than ever to communicate with your people and to have those face-to-face, to have staff meetings every week, to catch in with every single employee because there's no water cooler conversation anymore. So you have to create those. So lead by example. The other thing is your handbook. Most companies, they start off and they have an employee handbook. They give it out to employees. I don't know how many people use it. But to augment that, to maybe have a separate teleworker handbook or virtual office handbook, or to augment it, you will need it. You will learn from this experience. Things like attire, just because you're on Zoom meetings, I hear about lawyers who are in their underwear when they're talking to clients now. Would you be in your underwear if you were in the office? I mean, come on. So, when people don't shave when they're any longer because they're home and they don't think they have to. So having that, really, you will learn from this. You will learn what you want your employees to, how they want. Virtual offices are as much about human resource as it is about technology. It's as much about personnel. It's as much about how do I figure out if people are working. You can no longer say, gee, you didn't come here, you got to work late. You won't know when they get to work unless there are apps that actually show you when they're on screen or what they're doing. But I would not, I think those are intrusive. So the whole thing about augmenting that employee handbook with the rules of engagement, I think is critical. And you will learn. You say, you will learn. If we're in this long enough, you will learn that there are ways that you want your employees to work virtually, and you want to incorporate that. You want to get that into the corporation. And the other thing is training, to give adequate training. We have a client with Kadima Consulting. It's a pretty large company, probably has about 1,500 employees. They deployed teams. They have no training whatsoever. And I said to them, how do you expect people to take full advantage of teams if you don't provide adequate training, if you don't have people there who can answer questions, if you don't have some training programs on it? There's so much to these software that goes unutilized because of the lack of training. I just want to tell you that, and you will get my email, if anybody wants training on Teams, Microsoft has located 2 people. They're right now in Sarasota because everything's virtual. They give free training on Teams to any corporation that would like it. And I can connect you with those guys. They're looking for work, free, as much as you want. Question and answer, hour-long training on Teams. So they're available straight from Microsoft. So those are the recommendations I would provide.
So Mark,
Mark, count me in on that email, please.
You got it, for sure. I'll shoot you that.
Mark, so they just go to Microsoft? Is there, how do they do it? Because there's people listening.
Email
and it's easy
me.
for you. We need to know the rest of us.
Right, email me and I will connect you with those guys.
Do you want to tell us your email right now?
And my email is mfarron, F as in Frank, Farron, that's my last name, at fgcu.edu. MFARRON at fgcu.edu.
Okay, Mark, could you do me a favor? Could you put it in the Q&A?
You got it.
So then nobody has to remember it. It makes it easier for all of us.
Yep.
And we can go back to it. So thank you. Megan, this virus is touching everything that we do basically. How has that impacted the digital advertising landscape? What are you doing now that you had to change and it's different, and how are you doing it?
So, I wanted to talk about real quick before I answer the question. I am so grateful, Mark, that you mentioned the training, because we've been utilizing Teams. We've been tapping up into all the other Office products, and we've been taking training, and there are so many, it's blown my mind how many different features and how it all integrates, SharePoint to Planner to Teams. So I think it's awesome, and I think training is so valuable, and our company believes in it. We set aside many hours to train, and I think we're all the better and more efficient in our operations during this time. So,
and it's a good way to get people to stop watching the news.
Oh, right. Well, you're increasing your skill set, and I love continuing education, right? So all about that. So really, people are staying at home. They're going to have more downtime than usual. So, I think you should consider, advertising on streaming services like OTT. over-the-top advertising. It's an effective brand awareness tool. But you really, you know, if people are home, you know, just like individuals, you should take the time to really kind of do some house cleaning for your brand. So you're going to want to audit, you know, your digital presence, so that you're looking at your website and your social channels. So, you know, for your website, you're going to want to make sure all of your information is up to date. So, you know, keeping the industry changes on there, making sure that your social accounts are linked right, your review sites and all the business listings, because you're out there and you don't want to skip something and have a false listing for hours of operations, for example. For a lot of my clients, we implemented a pop-up on their website so that we had one place that, you know, as soon as you get to their website, there was a pop-up with information about, you know, hey, we're temporarily closed. I like temporarily, Jeannie, like how you were saying temporarily, because I feel like even though indefinitely means the same thing, it sounds so much more negative because you hear definitely.
Exactly.
So being careful with the verbiage, like you were saying, Jeannie, is really important when you're making these updates to your site. You know, you want people to understand the status of your business and how you're operating. So we touched on email. So if you're starting from scratch or you don't have a large email database, this is a good time to grow that, because people want to be in the loop on when you're opening, what your new operations are like, and how they can get a hold of your services or your products. So that kind of spans various industries as well. You know, take a look at your email database and in line with house cleaning. See if your contact fields are all updated. Going back to personalization, if you've got the right fields in there, then it's much more effective when you're sending an email to Megan, open this for interior decorating tips. And you can segment your audience in there. So take time to really spend that investment on your email database. And then think about your current email strategy. You know, what emails are having the highest open rates and the content is getting the most clicks. You know, how is the growth of your email? If you need to grow your email database, make sure that you're producing content where people are giving you emails in exchange for, you know, a quick checklist. And that could be applicable across many different industries. It could be applicable to our sponsor and the florist, how to take care of flowers as you get them. There's quick tips that you can apply to your industry that's of value to me that I'll enter my email address. You've got it, you can message me later, but it's keeping those clients engaged with you. And then, you know, it's just all about that exchange. So providing, there's an easy connection also behind the scenes with Constant Contact or MailChimp that you can connect it to your social page where they can sign up for emails too. So you just connect that. It's just another place for them to see. If they're only following you on Facebook and they haven't signed up for your emails, get them into your email database. So speaking on social, you know, everyone's, you know, more connected than ever because we want that connectivity. So people are engaging with social. So, you know, don't be afraid to show your clients your humanity. You know, we want to be sensitive to the current situation, but you want to show that you're there to support your clients or your customers, even if you are temporarily closed. And, you know, if you've got any efforts for any charitable, you know, initiatives, make sure that you're sharing the pictures and that the pictures are masked and people are spaced out appropriately. I have a developer client who's extremely philanthropic and charitable, and he's an essential business, so he's plugging along. And he called me with an idea. He said, you know, I just want to partner with you on giving cash and hot meals to people that are underserved in the community. Can you help connect me and make those connections so that I can do this? And so we absolutely did. And he basically challenged other community leaders as well as his company to join him. So, you know, we promoted this organically on social. We sent an internal email to his database, and word was you know, spreading so fast that I heard back from some of the leaders on his company that people were reaching out because they saw the post on LinkedIn and they simply just wanted to be a part of the organization. You know, these people that are currently employed, and they said, yeah, I want to come work for you. So it's just about taking advantage of not being, you know, looking at the opportunities, not being opportunistic in a negative way, but just trying to do what you can when you have the means to do so, and the resources that you have. You know, just make sure the content's on point. Listings management, you don't want to overlook that. So you're going to want to subscribe to a reputation or listing management services that's going to push your business hours out, so that Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yelp, all of those are reflecting exactly what's going on with your business. And, you know, just take advantage of the time that, you know, people might have some time, ask them to leave you a review, all part of reputation management. Hey, if you are looking to support us, a review is really valuable to our company right now. We'd appreciate it. And give them a little incentive, you know, show a review when you come back, when we reopen, and, you know, we'll throw in, you know, something for free or a discount. We talked about taking advantage of chamber sites, making sure your listings are there. And then, you know, digital paid advertising, if you've got that going on right now, you may need to pause any lead generation. You don't want it to be spending and you can't follow up with that service right away. So you may want to pause that so it's more actionable in the future. I had a restaurant client, and they shifted to takeout only. You know, they spaced and then they shifted out to takeout only. And then there was just not enough traffic to keep it open. They're located out in Sandoval. So when all the resorts closed down, it was really hard for them. So they shifted to making face masks. Completely different industry, but they just made use of their time because they're go-getters, and you know, it was a big pivot for them, but they started donating them to first responders, and thank God for people like them and the community. And since then it was so popular, and there's clearly a huge demand for masks, and they had the special filter in there that they started making them to also sell. So you can buy them on their website. It's made here locally, made in the US. And there was also, so we launched a certain part of their website, a product page to sell the masks. Then we also launched a product page to pay it forward. So it's just interesting shifts where you can pivot with the business and different changes and keep things online and keep them informed. So we had a pop-up on their website. We sent it out on social media, and just to kind of, you know, spread what we're doing and just get it out there digitally. And it was really well received. They are making face masks for salons in Chicago with embroidered names. I mean, it's just, you can get really creative with it, but you just have to be ready to shift and pivot and make sure that you're promoting what you're doing online.
You know, these are like great ideas when you see these people that are doing something new, but even if they can't do stuff new with their business, they can volunteer. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of people that can go out and volunteer. We got our food banks and everybody, they need people out there helping them. It's a great way to stay visible so people know you're still around. And if you can't go out of the house, when you're on social media, like talk to people, like have conversations, let them know you exist. I mean, our chamber Friday night is having a happy hour for your favorite decade. People are dressing from 5 to 6:30, and everybody's invited. We did a prom 2 weeks ago, and people got dressed up. I mean, find things to engage with people and make some things fun. It doesn't always have to be business, because they're looking for people to connect with. I had a member a couple of years ago, and he had this wonderful company, and he had a Facebook that had nothing on it, and it was just business. And I said to him one day, he goes, "Nobody talks to me on Facebook." I said, "Because it's boring." I said, "What do you do?" And he says, "I fish." I said, "Put a darn fish up there that you can catch, become live, and you know that somebody can understand you." The people are gonna go, "Oh, that's funny. Look at, he got a fish." You got to connect with people, and now more than ever, you have to connect with people, not just your business, your person. Share who you are, and people will come forward. And I think that's very, very important. James, newly remote workforce. What are 4 cybersecurity steps now to take to implement?
So this, you know, as a technology consulting firm, you know, we work under the managed technology approach, or MSP, and Mark may be more familiar with that. But, you know, now that we're all working from home and not knowing when offices are going to open. Going to Megan's point, we too are beginning to pivot because, we're looking at starting up a technology disinfectant program to make sure that things can be sanitized, whether, computers, servers, whatever it may be, to be cleaned up and ready to go. But if you look not just from that hygiene approach, you're now looking at working from home, using personal devices, whether it's a computer, because a lot of companies have not issued company-issued laptops or such, or company-issued cell phones, smart or any type of smart product or device. But one of the biggest things is, people tend to forget about their Wi-Fi. It's good to make sure if you're working from home that you reach out to your IT department, consultant, or managed service provider to see what can be done to assess the home network, because what's done on that home network, and if you're collaborating with Teams or file sharing services, you may be working on something on your local computer without knowing that when your children were in school, because you're all sharing the same computer or device, the computer could be infected, and you may then cross-contaminate from your home to your corporate network. And unfortunately, if the corporate network is not being monitored, maintained, managed, updated like it should be under a managed program, we too now are looking to pivot to look at offering a SOHO product for small office home business, small office home business style setup for our managed care programs, because in the foreseeable future, I'm going to predict that it's going to be good 12 to 18 months before people are really going to feel comfortable going back to an office setting, particularly when you start looking at 50, 100, 200 people plus in an office space or cubicle. So with that being said, look at your home network, make sure your Wi-Fi is secure, make sure it's password protected. A lot of things other people don't realize, we got all these smart devices, or what I call dumb devices. You got a smart thermostat, you got a refrigerator that tells you what to buy for milk or eggs. These are all ways to get into your home network. And if it's not properly secure, it can be costly. And if it's a true large incident, it could bring a small business or a large company down if they don't have, do they have backups? Do they have an incident response plan? And then if it is staff working from home, well, is it the staff's liability or because of the home network, or does it fall into a case if you're in healthcare working remotely? The law may not apply if that home network is not secured per HIPAA, for example. But, the big thing is review and update, incident response plans through your company. Definitely talk to HR to have an incident, a virtual remote workplace policy procedure, the do's and don'ts. Careful with email. And just also, in this day and age, people are desperate. And if you have a company issue device or even your own personal device, a lot of people don't even use passwords on their phones or smart devices. And people, there will be some thefts going on. A lot more things are happening in the local news with gas stations. But if you have this flashy smart tablet in some area, who knows, it could be stolen, you can lose it, which then that too opens up not just the home, but back to the company. So I think from an overall new remote workplace, these are things that should be put in place. And if anybody, reach out to Mark or I, or collectively, we can definitely help the membership, because these are things people really don't think of when they're at home.
Mark, do you want to add that?
Yeah, I certainly second that. You've got to take cybersecurity seriously. I think more people are, but it's so important, and don't wait for it to happen. I have, at FGCU, a week doesn't go by where I don't meet with a client after the incident has occurred, and people have lost tons of money and time and energy. And I just got off a phone call with my consulting firm, Kadima Consulting, 15 minutes before this call occurred. with a client of mine, an international company, $4 billion a year, 4,000 employees worldwide, just got hit by ransomware. Everything is down.
Oh,
They can't email. Everything is down. Think about it. I told them it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks before they have 80% of their stuff back up. This is an IT team of 500 employees. And just one employee hit the wrong attachment. One employee someplace around the world hit the wrong attachment and they're screwed. So you will know, you will take, don't wait to get hit before you take it seriously. This is serious stuff. I can't undermine that at all. When it comes to the tools that we're talking about, things like, does the tool have end-to-end encryption, which Zoom originally didn't have? Thank God they have it now. Does it have multi-factor authentication? Some of the tools do. If they do, use it. I know it takes a little longer to log in. I realize that. I realize time is money. If something has multi-factor authentication, enable it, use it. You'll be happy that you did. It takes another 30 seconds. It's worth it. Does the tool share your information, the information that you're putting in? Does it share it with third parties and affiliates? Or does it keep it private? There are so many of these kind of things that one has to think about with these tools. There are millions of tools that you could download. There's a new one coming out every day, you know, so, and some of them are safe and some of them aren't. So I kind of second what James says, security and privacy. Think about those things.
And I'll add to that, Mark, as well. I mean, many people don't realize that multi-million, billion-dollar corporations that may have 500 IT staff on board, if they're not truly managing that network, what happened to the backups? Why can't that, do they have a cloud backup, or do they have a third-party provider like my firm or others that Mark may work with that could turn on a cloud server in the internet or on the internet within 15 to 20 minutes or an hour at most? So, you know, we offer that, but a lot of times this slips many companies, you know, thought process. Oh, it's going to be too expensive. No, a lot of this stuff has come down in pricing. And even if you're a small office home user working from home, working on your computer, get a backup. I don't care if it's Carbonite or Mozy or whatever it may be. Protect yourself. Make sure that you do it and keep a local backup. You know, people talk about, should I put it on the cloud, keep it local? Yeah, do both. And then, you know, have a local backup and have it in the cloud, because like, if this $4 billion company can't get up and running for 3 months, and if they're regulated, there's a whole lot of issues with liability insurance then.
Well, I want to thank all of our panelists today, James, Mark, and Megan. You added so much to this, and you educated us all on things that are extremely important, especially during today and what's going on in our world, but constantly. This will be going on for a while. I want to thank Javier Fuller from Conrick PR and Marketing, who is my co-chairman back there somewhere. We just see his picture, but he helps us put the Zoom programs together. So I want to thank Javier. He's amazing. I want to thank our sponsors, Condition Air. And so look at Condition Air when you need something done with your air condition. And Maples Floral Design. Ladies and gentlemen, Mother's Day is coming up. And if you want to give your mother flowers, and he also has other little cool things too as well. But if you want to give them flowers and you want them to last more than 2 days, I don't care what Michael says, because he's not listening. He's putting something in those flowers because his flowers are beautiful and they last so long. So I just want to thank everyone. He did a great job, and we're looking forward to learning more from each one of you in the future. We're in this together. I don't think God ever did something. He didn't do the virus, but he brought us all together through the virus. So sometimes when bad things happen, God just cleans us all up. And I actually wrote a piece called God Sent the Whole World Home, and he did. So I think he sent us home to learn. I think he sent us home to clean up the earth. So when we're looking at our different things that are going on in the world right now, the earth is cleaning up. It's amazing. You can see water, you can see air, you can see all these things. So we can do this. We can work together. I really believe we're going to be stronger and we're going to be better, and working together is going to make us better. So I want to thank each one of you for being part of it, and we look forward to seeing you soon. And our attendees, thank you for being part of it. And we will be sending you everybody out the video for the program. If you need help from the Above Board Chamber, let us know, because we're here for you. And 99% of the things we do are totally free. So use our website, use our Facebook page, use those different things. Let's keep you alive. Let's keep you visible, and let's make a difference together. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Above Board Chamber, 239-910-7426. Our website is aboveboardchamber.com. Have a great day.